How's everyone doing? This is Mike Gilcreast on the Mike Gilcreast Show. Pleasure to be here. I hope everyone's enjoying their TGIF. It is Friday, last for most people the work day of the week. If you're working, I always appreciate people working anyway because I used to work, and now I'm still working, but for myself now. And then on the other hand, for you. But we're here for another exciting show. Glad to be here and just glad to everything's moving forward, working as it's supposed to. You guys are just fantastic, and thank you for being a part of the Mike Gilchrist Show. Thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for liking me, subscribing, spreading the word, telling people to subscribe. It's just so much we're trying to accomplish, but reputation, status, when people agree with you, give you comments, even on after the show, you give it comments out there. I mean, that's what lifts us up and say, you know what, this is a good thing. And so sometimes we want to know that we're doing great things out there. And sometimes people won't know unless you tell them. You have to tell them this is good. The best form of advertisement, right, is word of mouth. It's better than the millions and millions of dollars that they spend on ads. Word of mouth. Telling someone, check out this show. Tell somebody to subscribe. Tell someone, he has more than this show. He has podcasts. He has church. He has Bible class. He does motivational speaking. He does coaching. He's writing book. He's an author. And so just word of mouth. And at least I have little substance that you could tell people about, and say, you know what? And not only that, say his stuff is real, it's truthful, and bottom line, the baseline is of God. And so I like to give good religious advice, but I like to also tell the truth. Some stuff we do is not necessarily religious, but it's just common sense. And so common sense seems like it's a hard thing for some people, but common sense is common sense. And so we take the common sense, we roll with it. It could be good, bad, ugly, indifferent, doesn't matter. It's common sense. Some things you don't need a spiritual awakening. Some things you don't need to dream it and have visions for it. Some things you don't have to just keep trying to dig deeper and deeper. Some things sometimes is what it is. It is what it is. And so I'm just full of life, and I'm glad like I said to be in the presence, and this kind of like my best view right now. So life is just pretty fantastic. It really is. And whether you understand it or not, hey, what's up, sis? I was just thinking about you. And so somebody's chiming into my podcast, and I'm like, life is what you make it. And I'm just so pleased to be able to have a voice. I got a voice, not just this format. I mean, I have an international voice. If you don't know it, I'm an international speaker. I've spoken in several different countries, and more to following, man. We're on our way to the Philippines and in a couple months, and boom, we'll be there, and and doing more of the same things. Spreading the word of God and helping people, lifting up people, guiding people, and giving back. I told someone, I say I have 2 retirements, and now I'm doing this. I have a book and working on my second book, and I believe in giving back. Who am I without you? And so I love to give back, and so I just think that's part of who I am. So I definitely give back. We're going to continue to talk about relationships and baggage and divorce. And divorce can be baggage. Believe it or not. What's up, Linda? And so divorce could be baggage. When you look at life and the way things are, even, I want to touch on something else today, as well, and see where we can go with this. All right. Nothing's never what it seems, right? And so, when you look at it and look at life, and and you may not know this, but I actually pray before I come on because I want God to lead me and stuff like that. But a person or their relationship, and regardless of what they've been through, no matter what it is, always have a baseline. There's a foundation. Nobody acts the way they do just to act the way they do. Nobody's no come up with the thoughts, the ideas. Nobody, are rebellions in relationship. A lot of times there's an underlining motive that's ushering people to do things. Yeah, I'm a little different today, all right? They do things in this particular, because we're talking about women, and you don't always get what you put into it. Sometimes you get a whole lot less. But as I'm living life, I'm learning, how you say it. Nothing is ever what it seems. All right. Men may not understand women, and women may not understand men, period, bottom line. And so there's a misnomer because we assume we know and we don't know. We assume we have the answers and we don't have the answers. And I started to think about this, and I understand mental health is a thing that we're looking at day in and day out. People go through things and they're challenged with life and just things in particular, and then we react off these things that we think we understand, we think we know, and whatever, and we're trying to find that middle ground. We're trying to find that piece of safety, or that piece where we can find happiness, or that melancholy type environment that we want to put ourselves in. But something's always defeating that purpose. Something always show their ugly head, and you're like, how come I can't get there? Why is this bad for me? Why is this happening to me? We come with these things, but sometimes you got to look back. And you have to reach back. Sometimes you have to turn around. Sometimes you have to stop from where you are and go into a different direction. Before I come on the show, I always, these thoughts be running through my mind. Do I have all the answers? No. But you know what? I point a lot of people to the direction they need to go. People come to me because they, I may not have all the answers, but I may have the answer you need. And we know my show premise is what if. Like, what if? So, which means we should not be narrow-minded. We should open up our minds and try to expand it to do something different. I want to do something different. I want to do something, rash. I want to do something brash. I want to do something exciting. I mean, whatever you want to do, it starts from what's in you. Some days you lazy. Some days I'm lazy. I don't want to do anything. I want to lay around and do nothing. Some days I have like that, and then some days I have to make sure we get our yard done and this, that, and the other, and I'm moving to this, I'm excited. I'm excited because, I kind of like open up the door to where I want to go. In order for me to do that, I have to know where I am and not allow what I've been through to prolong me or stop me or impede me from going forward. You at some point, regardless of whatever you do or what you do, you have to make a choice. You have to determine, am I going to have a great relationship? I'll have a great marriage. I'll be single and just no focus on relationship. I'll be single and my purpose is to get married. And the thing is, I like people to be honest, and not everybody's honest. So I live my best life. I look at people. I look at pretenses. People understand people. They do. And the thing is, we're not always honest to people. If somebody got a bad attitude, people don't walk up and say, you have a bad attitude. People wonder why I got a bad relationship. Well, maybe because you got a bad attitude. And sometimes that's true. If I do something, I know I want to clean mine. I want to relax mine. And I'm like, I want to take a trip. I just want to hug my wife. I just want to walk down the street. Me and my wife are like, let's take a walk. She's like, okay, let's go. She could be working on whatever. I say, let's go. She's ready to go. But that's what happens when you enjoy being, together. You know where you are in your relationship. A lot of people don't know that. I have honesty in my relationship. I won't open my mouth up. And my wife knows if I say something, it's truthful. She don't have to, what are you up to? What did you do? I don't have to go through that. People get in relationships, and first and foremost, and that I want to allude my point, we have to know who we are. And you have to look at where you've been so you can know where you're going. And a lot of times we miss that. I could tell you the great things I'm doing and how I'm expressing myself and how, I got things on the crest of my life, and it's raising and raising and raising. I keep raising the bar even within myself. And people look at me and they're like, you know what? I want what you have. I want what you have. But I had to go through my trials, tribulations, ups and downs, sideways, bad religion, bad relationships, bad this, bad that. I had to go through a whole lot to get to where I am. And then I finally, as was it Carl Maslow? Something I learned in psychology back in college. We sometimes self-actualize. Even though I'm reaching the pinnacles of different places in my life, I have actualized at so many status, and I know who I am. I'm comfortable who I am. Nobody can take this from me. You got to take possession of your life. Women, you have to take possession of your life. I'm not saying be dominant. I'm not saying be insecure. I'm not saying be naive. I'm not saying be gullible, but take possession of your life. I spoke to another young lady in the store the other day, and I just love her balance. I talked to another lady in my book saying I love her balance. Some women have figured out themselves, and they know what they want. They know how they're going to get it. They know how they're going to achieve it, and they don't have to do it with deceit. You know what I mean? I met one of my book signs. I met another lady at Costco's, and they caught my attention. When a woman hear me say, "You got it. You figured it out," which means we're speaking the same language. And it takes a lot for a woman to get that. And I talked to one young lady, and she had incest. I talked to another lady, she's been raped. I talked to another one, and it says people have different pasts. And I talked to her in depth, or talked to the women in depth. And I'm like, how did that affect you? Your body was taken advantage of. How did that affect you? You didn't lose yourself. How'd you get back? And the way they're talking, it's like, it's a process, but I'm healing. It's a process, but it didn't slow me down. It's a process. It didn't stop me from moving forward. I'm still working on me, but it didn't stop my life. It didn't impede my decisions to make bad decisions. Some people, when they're sexually taken advantage of, they end up on the streets of prostitutes. They end up being whores. They end up being in strip joints. And some of them can never be satisfied in a relationship. That's a whole lot. I just said a whole lot. But I meet people even within the last week and a half. And I can say these words now. Because I asked that question. I asked the question, how'd you do it? What makes you strong? You have to, women, you got to look at your life. Look at where you are. You got to do that. Not just look at myself, oh, I'm happy I'm making it, and in the story. No, I've been through this. What can I do better so this doesn't happen to me again? What choices can I make today that can affect my tomorrow, and I'll still be happy? Look at life different. I started looking at relationships, and I'm saying, it's a reason men don't get along with women. It's a reason, marriages doesn't work. Relationships doesn't work. Divorce is always the easiest way out. Divorce is the way I'm choosing divorce. But many people choose divorce, and it's absolutely right. Yes, you need to be divorced from that person. But sometimes you choose divorce, and it's absolutely wrong. And so you have to know from your heart of hearts, what side are you on? Why am I separating from this? No woman want to get hit upside the head. And so those I'm not talking about. Or no woman wants to be cheated. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about the ones where you got such a high standard. and the guy just haven't figured it out, but don't let your past confuse what's in front of you going forward. Don't let your past destroy your future. I said a whole lot. That is a whole lot. Sometimes we allow our past to destroy our futures, And I'm not talking about the extreme cases. Because when you look at the big totem pole of all the women out in the world, it's a small percentage of women that have traumatic type relationships. But it's a great deal of people, and I'm gonna give you two words, that people break up relationships. They break up marriages. They break up the path of their potential happiness. Two words: irreconcilable differences. To me, every straight relationship can have that as a reason to get divorced. Irreconcilable difference. Really, I think it has another meaning to it. Like you're not my dream person. You didn't give me my way. I'm spoiled. I don't like you telling me no. I think irreconcilable differences mean that. I don't think it means I just don't get along with you. All right? Before people getting married, it's things that went on where you knew you shouldn't have married that person. You knew it. You knew you were broken. You knew you had issues. You knew you had things going on. You knew you'd been through a whole lot. You knew you wasn't healed. Irreconcilable difference. Remember I say, for me, write your checklist down. But even before you do that, I say pray. But even after you pray, even before you write your checklist down, soul search yourself. Because I talk to so many women. I do. Seriously. And they're not happy. Or they want to be married. And they just don't know how to get there. But sometimes I think we forget to examine ourselves, to say, you know what, am I bringing too much baggage, we're talking about baggage, right, to this relationship? Am I not ready? Have I not healed from my traumatic expression? I'm not saying every woman got a bad relationship, been something traumatic happened to them. But by God, a lot of women had some type of traumatic experience that affects their everyday life. Whether it was a friend, a cousin, or this, that, and we're not going to the that side of it. I'm just touching it and saying, be honest. Soul search yourself before you look at a relationship, another person, another man, and I ain't gonna say another woman because I ain't doing that. That's out of my realm. People want to be homosexual, but I'm not advocating that. But to be with that person as God intended, and sometimes I have these wild thoughts, and just like we're doing now, and I get a thought and I run with it. And I start going deeper and deeper and deeper because I want to understand women. I'm writing a book about women, but I want to understand women as the way we make these choices, especially when I see women and they tell me, I should have never married that man. And so many women say they wasn't happy. Some women would be with the guys just because he got a paycheck. I'm telling you, but that's not being honest. But the thing is, I think, if you heard of Pandora's box, I think that's on the line of Pandora's box, where you open up something or you do something or you're not honest, whatever. Let me paraphrase that. Pandora's box. We open up something we can turn our whole life upside down. But we say that on a simpler term. What goes around comes around, and it may be worse when it comes around. And so I'm cutting through jargon and things that we talk and going deeper and deeper and deeper inside it. You got me at your best. When I'm talking like this, I'm like, psh, and so my mind, I digress and talk about making other things. But relationships are broken and they don't have to be. Love is broken. It doesn't have to be. You know, don't do relationships if you're not going to give it 100%. A lot of guys are in relationships and they're not happy, and yet they stay. I'll tell you, it takes a lot for a guy to settle down. It also takes a lot for a guy to leave. And we don't understand. We think, I don't cuss him out, I don't get on him, I don't scream at him, and whatever. I just want him to react. And sometimes guys won't even pay you no attention. And like, why you don't pay me no attention? I did this, I did that. And the thing is, he's probably contemplating leaving. And so we don't understand men thing. I just went deep into the women. Now I'm touching the men's side. Because that's why women get surprised. You ever been in a relationship and you wasn't expecting your guy to leave, and then all of a sudden he's ready to leave, and you're surprised, like, no way, you can't leave. No, what you talking about? And maybe the guy caught you cheating. Maybe you haven't been honest. Maybe you won't give him your true feelings. It's a lot, what if, right? It's a lot of reasons why relationships break up, or you don't understand that guy. It's a reason guys don't open up to women. Cause seriously, nobody wants to be first and telling the truth on what's wrong with the relationship. People, we don't tell the truth. We avoid conversations. That could be a topic by itself. Why do we avoid conversations that make a difference in my relationship? We won't talk about it. We change the subject. I don't want to talk about that right now. Because you might spill your whole cards. You might start crying, this, that, another. Women, I'll tell you, from what my experience is, I'm talking about me. Women do not want to lose their guy, especially if he brings value to their lives. All right, and so that's a little different. Let's answer a couple of these questions. All right, we got some questions out here, and I have a lot more to say. What is this? In a relationship, should couples support each other in achieving their goals? And that's one of the questions. You made me breathe. Depends on what it is, to be honest. I think a wife should support a husband should support a wife. But it should be realistic, all right? Intrinsic on bettering the relationship. Like my life now, if my wife wanted to do her modeling career, it wouldn't work. If she wanted to do a modeling career and she's my manager of doing this, and she's like, now son, she get this epiphany and like, I want to get back into model, I don't go to model. I was willing to give up everything, and I was in the military to follow her career. And it didn't work out, right? And if it would have, I would have gave the military and left and whatever and followed her. But at this stage of my life, that's what I'm saying. You got to look at where the relationship is. Couples should support each other, but it depends on what it is. If it takes away from the relationship you're going forward, or it can mess up your finances or whatever, that's why you got to, and then you got to look at if you're strong enough. If can your relationship handle the pressures of opening up another goal that can be conflicting? That's why you got to talk to your spouse to see what's the best way to go. By far, yes, you support, but not everything you can support in. Like I asked my wife, because she had a job and she's making a lot of money. And I came to her, I said, what are you going to do? Because I needed her to decide whether we had to get another place up in Virginia, like a 1-bedroom apartment somewhere to stay. If if she wanted to commute and keep her job, we was gonna figure it out, right? Or should I say, I was gonna figure it out. But she said, I'm going with you. So she quit her job and moved forward. That's what I'm saying. You got to understand what's at stake, because if you have goals and that can put you in debt, then that's another challenge that you bring to the relationship. So you got to know what you want. You got to talk about it. Communication's the key, all right? And so somebody agreed with me and told me you got to have common ground, so we have that, and here's another one. It says, what are your hopes and dreams in your relationship? Well, that's something y'all should sit down and talk about. That's why, like really, if you look, I like the way God set up everything. And people like, what should a woman bring to the table? Should she bring as much money as a man? And da 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 da. Relationships are broken because people don't know their roles. Women want to boss guys around. Don't no guy want no girl bossing him around, or no wife, no woman bossing him around. That's why you got to understand your roles and what you bring to a relationship. I can't handle a nagging wife. The Bible speaks of that. It says better to be on the housetop than be inside the house of an arguing woman. I'm paraphrasing, but to the point. So you got to know what your hopes and dreams are. Normally, the dream comes from the guys, but not always. And the guys give them the playing field. This is what I got. This is where we're going. And this is how we're going to do it. And the women say, okay, I'm giving you my time, my body, my mind, all this to help us get there. That's generally how it's supposed to work. Everybody's not going to, that seems archaic and old-fashioned stuff like that. But, real men, they not going to follow the wife. Or a wife like, I'm going to support our family, this, that, and other. I think you're going to have problems. I'm not depending on my wife to take care of me. I'm depending on me to take care of her. And so that's my thought process. And I'm sure that's most guys' thought process. And so that's why you really got to understand your relationship and not take away from that manhood of the guy. All right. And so I don't want to go too in depth, but what do a happy life mean to you and your wife? Well, I don't know. That's funny. I think it's archaic. A happy life. I think it's superficial. What is a happy life? If one of us gets cancer, I'm happy because one of us got cancer, or if one of us got sickness, or she has to get surgery on her body. She has to get a hysterectomy. I have to get a prostate, or we got lung cancer and you got to get your lungs removed. It's always, or somebody gets in a car accident, or someone loses their job. It's no such thing. That's why you saw these examples of a happy life. That is from take that back to the tomb. It's no such thing as a happy life. You can live your best life based on choices you made, but to have nirvana, happiness, peace, calm, for the rest, it's no such thing, because we never know what's going to happen. But to know you love a person, and it's no matter what happens in that life, I'm with you. When you love somebody, you don't allow stuff to separate you. Good, bad, and different. When you took your vows, or married people, we said it's for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health, to death do you part. Them the general vows people take. Happiness is not a part of that. Happiness is what you make it based on having a free, some good time in our lives. Let's take a break and try to make something good out of it. People have taken, and I'm going deep now, right? People have taken vacations, and they've been on vacation and totally unhappy. I've been there. I've been married a long time, and not to speak of me, but I understand when you're not happy and you're married. I understand you're on vacation and you're married. So what's a happy life? Happiness is when you can see through your problems. And no matter what the problem is, it doesn't separate the marriage, the relationship. You don't allow stuff to get between you. And you look at each other in your eyes and you say, we can make it. We can get through this. Let's pray. Let's trust God. That's really how you get there. Beating up a woman, or badgering her, cussing her out, or beating up a guy, badgering him or cussing him out, screaming, doesn't resolve the fact. But when you look at no matter what happens, and you tell the person, we could get through this, we can make it. That's life. That's marriage. I'm happy with my wife because no matter what I bring to the table, she trusts me. She encourages me. She pushed me on, even if she have her doubts. But at least I know she got my back. At least I know she's praying for me. That's what relationship is. All right? So what's next? All right? So don't get caught up in when people say, when folks, and I'm just bust this one out. When people say, I got, live my best life, or I got to look out for me, and people have other terms, but really, when you say, I'm soul searching and it's about me living my best life, that's telling people I'm selfish, I'm involved by myself, whatever. I'm spoiled. That's what that means. When people say they're living their best life, they got to find their own mode of happy. Women will leave a relationship because they're not happy. That's the wrong reason to leave a relationship. The wrong reason, totally. Men generally stay when they're unhappy. When they get tired of being happy, they move on. But women don't make it better for men to stay in relationships. I've been married before. And it was hard for me, but I stayed. I'm like, you need to do this, that, and other. I stayed, and for years, and I wasn't happy. But when I got tired, I moved on. And that's generally what guys do. All right. And not to say it's right or wrong. That's just how guys operate, just like when a guy cheats, and normally if a guy cheats, and I'm not saying it right, it's because he just needed a break, a way out, and just a way to release himself, right? But when a woman cheats, she's emotionally involved with that guy. And that's the difference. And so it's pretty much saying that relationship that you currently have, whether it's marriage or not, is over. But anyway, that's we can talk about that stuff later on. All right. So do you think, I'm going down the list here, do you think honesty is the best policy in a relationship? You know what? I would not have a relationship if I couldn't be honest. If I got to lie to keep a woman, this is me, Mike Gilcreast. And you can probably see a lot of this in my book, but just look at my personality in my book and you see, I dare to lie to keep a woman. I dare to lie to keep a relationship. If I have to lie to you to keep you, and then I'm going to lie to you to get away from you. I told my wife, I'll tell you this, and it's probably in my book. I can't recall it, but I told her that I will always tell her the truth, even if it hurts me. That's the relationship I have. That's a contract I made with her, even on top of my vows. Whether I'm happy, unhappy, whatever, rich, poor, young or old, I told her I'll always tell her the truth, even if it hurts me. Seriously. I cannot have a relationship if I'm not honest. So she gets 100% of me, and you could ask her, for real. And if you know her, ask her. If you're a guest out here and you don't know her, if you see her in person, you see her at a book signing, walk up to her and say, is this guy honest to you? What do I lose? I had nothing when I met her. So to be married to her and lie to her, I mean, come on. She just told me the other day she'll marry me again, just so you know. All right. I'm secure in my relationship. I don't have that. A lot of people don't have that. I speak of me because I'm telling you that's where you need to get to. That's where you have to get to. And so I hope that, here's the next question. So y'all check this out. It says, do you think people should do their individual therapy along with marriage counseling together before getting married? Yes, no doubt. Because and that's kind of alluded. That's a great question. Because when I started talking today, about 20 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago, that's what I was talking about. We're broken individually. People get married and they're broken. People have been to women. I'm saying people, but women have been through horrific stuff. Like I said, the incest, this to that, abused father. Some fathers were alcoholics, and some were drug dealers, some were in jail. I mean, people are broken all the way around. And then they get married and think, this guy's going to save my life. This guy, he's a nice looking guy. He's going to save me. We watch too much TV. We think, oh, this is my Romeo. He's come to rescue me. This is my Prince Charming. We've lied to ourselves. I might be dark and lovely. I'm a handsome guy. People like me, whatever. Or people like this guy and that guy. Oh, he's so cute. He's so cute. He's so cute. And then half the time these cute guys are gay. You know, or on the DL. You never get what you think you're going to get in any relationship. You never get it. I don't care how beautiful the person is. I don't care how handsome the guy is. You never get it. If people look like they're rich, they could be scamming. They could be drug dealers. Could be this, that, the other. You never get what you want. What you saying? We look for the wrong things to make us happy. We try to find a facade, a substitute to ease the pain, the hurt, the traumatic stuff that we've been through in our hearts. Yes, get therapy. Because we're broken. Make sure you're healed from your past so you don't bring that baggage to that next relationship. He should get it. And I'm telling you, it's hard to make guys go to therapy. Very seldom do guys want to go to therapy. All right? I do coaching, and guys don't really come to me and say, I need coaching. It'd be the women. So I need coaching. Guys are prideful. I'm saying guys got it and they know it. No, they're prideful. They go into the relationship broke. I dare. When people get married and don't get at least marriage counseling before they get married, how you don't get that person to open up and bring out stuff in them from a third party? Because it's easier for a guy to bring things out to a third party than to give it one-on-one with the person. Because one-on-one with the person, you're trying to look good before them. But yeah, that's a great question. Do you think people should do individual therapy? Y'all check this out. Y'all look at this. This is a great, great, great question. All right. I think you should. And then you got to not only get the counseling, but do it. Do what the counselors say. Do it. Practice the exercise. Do everything because you want to excellent that. I learned everything about relationship the hard way. I was a bad actor. I was bad. I was a cheater, a liar, a dog, a thief. Name a couple others. I was that. I was I said I was, and I wasn't serving God. And so I understand. I'm not trying to be here and I'm the good Samaritan. I'm a good Samaritan now, but I wasn't. That's why I talk about this stuff like I do. Years ago, if I had this question, do I think people should, do individual therapy along with marriage counseling before getting married? I wouldn't answer that question like that. I'm like, get all you can get, because that's my goal. I was trying to hit everything I could possibly hit and then some, because I was broken. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know, if I get with all these people that it's going to make my life miserable. I didn't know that. Still trying to find happiness in the midst of all the chaos. It's hard to do. Yes, get that. As much therapy and counseling as you get prior to getting married. Yes. If you want to do it right, even moreover, you should be getting blood tests too and make sure you don't have HIV and what's that, HPV, I think. You got to make sure you don't have this stuff. You're getting married and, oh, man, I'm good. You ain't good because you say you're good. People are nasty. I mean, body nasty. Don't wash up. Don't whatever. Some women are with 2 and 3 guys, and then and women don't understand. Every time they with each guy, and if they with, some women do 3 guys in one day. A guy could be with 4, 5, 6 women. But a guy never leaves, takes on, he wash up and he's gone. But a woman's not the same. That's why a woman can't do the same thing as a man. I get deep in this stuff. Y'all gonna hear me talk because this is who I am, right? But each time a man leaves a deposit inside of a woman, his blood is in there, and then it's mixed with the next guy's blood, the next guy's blood, and the next guy's blood, and then all that blood gets into that woman's. If you know anything about anatomy and physiology, you know anything about biology, when you mix blood and it get contaminated with your blood, then that you take on that dude's DNA. For real. Women be like, I can do what a guy can do. It's a lie. You cannot. A woman can't do. They don't like guys saying that. I'm just speaking like it is. I was going to school to be a doctor and this, that, and that. I understand the body. Women, if you look at your body, once your vagina is open, it's open up to all your internal organs, even your bloodstream. Okay, and so you can see everything. If you, I've seen all this stuff, right? And you know, my classes, this and another, and we're not the same. You know, and so women try to make the guy think a woman can't do what a guy can do. We're not built that way. That's why you got to get mostly connected to the guy. Understand how that guy works, how you can penetrate his mind to help him to understand where you are and make that connection. I have that in my relationship now. I made that connection. I'm not looking to move this, that, and other. And girls flirt with me. They don't care if I'm married. They don't care. People, I look like I have potential. I look like I'm an author, so you assume this guy's rich or he's on the way to be rich and this, that, and other. And they get happy. Is your vagina, and this is just a man talking, how much does it cost? Your real value is making a relationship, a love commitment. That's the real value. Not a few minutes of pleasure. All right, whew. Lord, that was a lot. All right, and so I have to speak. I want to shock your mind. I want you to get what I'm saying as a dude, because I'm a dude that went through women. And I want you to understand your values higher is much higher than you think. It ain't to play games with a dude. It's to get the dude's heart. If you can't get his heart, don't waste your time. You hanging around. Women, I done watch women stay with guys this long and that long and whatever. And they losing value because the guy haven't proposed. Why waste your time? I've been teaching women forever, even before well, after I wrote the book. But before my status is growing, I'm like, women, y'all don't understand how much power y'all got. A guy becomes better just to connect with you. But we play games and think you'll win a man's heart. You don't win a man's heart with games. It's that soft side God gave you. It's that femininity that God's given you. It's the gentleness, the softness of your voice, the kindness of your heart. Just the little things speaks to a guy's heart. Anyway, let's move on. Boy. Woo. All right, what we got? All right, it says, being happy is a two-way street. Well, that's one of those questions. No, the goal is to both sides to be happy, but it may not happen at the same time. Jesus went to the cross, right? And he died for everybody's sin. He didn't commit sin. Sometimes you have to be that person to take less so your relationship can gain so much more. You may have to sacrifice, and that may not be a happy feeling, and the guy's happy. But you do it knowing that you make that sacrifice, knowing that in the end game, we're both going to be happy. It's always the goal for both people to be happy, but it may not happen simultaneously, which means at the same time. So being happy is not if you want me to be honest, right? It's not a two-way street. Because I'll tell you, the guy going to disappoint you in so many ways at so many times. And you're going to have to take a deep breath and say, Lord, give me more strength. You're going to have to pray your way through it. And so But and women don't pray their way through stuff. Well, let me be real. I'll tell you, she's gonna cuss him out. She'll go off, she'll get mad at him, and then the wife gonna tell the husband, "You ain't getting nothing tonight." See, I thank God I don't have that kind of wife. And I talk about this stuff because I've been there, done it, lived it, whatever, right? And I share this with you because it doesn't work like that. At times, the guy gonna have to make sacrifices. It's a give and take. A relationship is give and take, and you cannot keep score. I did this last time. I did this last week. I did this last year. No, you cannot keep score. You say, I love you anyway. Go ahead and do what you want. If a woman was pregnant and she was in an accident and she's at the hospital, and the guy has to decide, the husband, he has to decide, only one of them can live. Which one would you choose? I'm telling you, life happens. And so you have to decide, do I choose the unborn child that's innocent? Or do I choose my wife who gave me a lifetime of happiness? That's life. That's life. That's what you have to deal with when you do life. It's unfair. But those are the rules. That's just how it happens. It's a facade. It's false for people to think, for women to think, the only job for them to do in a relationship is to be happy. There's moments when you have happiness, but it's not all the time. So hopefully that answers your question. Boy, that was deep. That was a good one. That was a good one. How can a man seem so strong but he's so weak? Do women miss this? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Where I get these questions from? Oh Lord. Oh boy. So all right. Yes. I needed that. All right. We had to laugh on that, right? And you know what? I think it takes because this is not a question that I generally get from women. When a woman asks this kind of question, this question is deep, seriously, because I talk to a lot of women. I do. And I give a lot of advice to women. And when I'm on my book signings, I give free advice. I don't even say we have to sit down and I get to coach you, whatever, and you got to pay me this much money, whatever. And this question, why are men so headstrong when it comes to men are headstrong and they're physically strong. All right. That means that why are men so headstrong when it comes to taking advice from a woman when God made woman to help them? That great question. And I'll tell you, black, white, Spanish, Russian, German, Italian, Muslim, Jehovah Witness, Catholic, Baptist, whatever. I don't care what the guy is or where he's from. Guys, it depends on the relationship. It depends if he's married, single. Y'all hear me? I have to go through the gist. When a guy is in tune with his woman, his wife, right? He will listen to her. He will hear her. When a guy knows there's no retaliation, no retribution from him opening up, he wouldn't be headstrong. A lot of times guys have to take that position because I done seen guys get called out by women and women have demoralized. I done seen it both ways. Guys and demoralized women. And so I see it both ways. But generally, since the questions, men are headstrong, my wife can tell me, we're going down the street. I'm going to give you an example. and we don't have directions. Sometimes MapQuest don't work, or Google Maps doesn't work. Your phone doesn't work. You're in some areas and it doesn't work. I'm just using this example, right? But it's a true story. And many times my wife say, go left, I go right. And I'll be right because I will right. Whatever she asks, I'll do the left. I'll do the opposite. And we end up going the right way so many times, right? And out of 100 times, maybe, 99, let's say 95, I was right, and then 5% she was right. But she never got upset with me because I went the other way. Praise God, we on our way and move forward. But it's the times when I'm like, I wasn't sure, and she said left, not it's that 5%. I go left, and she's right. Her and I, and she and I, we bought a car, and she's like, I'm like, we get a car. And she's like, oh, man, I think we should do it right now. I'm like, we get a car and get the head strong. This question's perfect. Are you talking about me? No, most guys are like this anyway. And we get the car and find out we got to take the car back because she was right. We couldn't afford it. All right. And this happened early on our relationship. So I would share this, because to show, to prove the point. When a guy feels safe with his wife, right? Or in that relationships to be married, whatever, right? He's going to listen to that woman for real. But if she retaliates, if she say, I told you, you should have did that. Why don't you listen to me? Da, 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 da. A dude going to say, forget you. I'm blocking you out and go on by his business. Because you got it. Like a woman want to feel safe. Men want to feel safe too. And so you don't get in front of the dude's friends and family and say, you always mess up. You can't do this. You can't park your car. You can't do this. You can't go to the store. You can't do nothing without asking me. You can't get nothing right. What? You sound like a dude. That's not the energy a woman should be giving a guy. That kind of stuff makes guys not listen. I'm a dude. I'm telling you. If Mel was all over my back, yeah, why didn't you go the right way? Now we late. Next time I'm going by myself, I'm leaving her at home. For real. I don't deal with this. I'm just telling you how I would react if I was in that situation. My wife not like that. She like, okay, figure it out. When you ready, come and talk to me. That's my wife. I mean, it's like she don't make me take her advice. She'll chill. I'm telling you how it works. She'll chill and I come to her. And I tell my wife, I talk to my wife myself. I say, I'm telling you this, but this guy stay between us. This can't go out. Cause when she stopped making me trust her, it kills the relationship. So if I tell her something that's near and dear to me, and she blasted out and she can't keep her mouth shut, I stop telling her stuff. She'll stop listening to my phone calls, and then I start blocking my phone because you ain't going through my phone to blast me out, to make me look bad, and whatever. Guys, seriously, men, they do not want to look bad. And a lot of times women get this way. They get to a point like, why you won't listen to me? Well, just like a man tell a woman, don't do this, and women do the same thing. Women don't listen to men because they think they know better. They don't give their man respect and stuff like that. Some women think that because I make more money than you can't tell me what to do. I'll handle my own stuff. Then you be the man of your house, and he'll probably leave you. Your role is not based on who make the most money. I believe that I should make all the money and take care of my wife. It's not about that. Guys don't care how much money a woman makes. Never equate yourself to a man. From a spiritual standpoint, the man's supposed to take care of the house. The woman, or make sure the house is in. The woman make sure the house is a home for the dude. We lost track of what our roles are, and we don't know how to get it back. I answer questions as a guy. I open it up and stuff like that. Guys will listen to that woman when the woman makes him feel like I'm going to respect you regardless of what you say. If you left, right. Some men don't even read, can't read. They're illiterate. And the woman knows that man can't read. Do you not know that woman would not make that man feel bad because he can't read? See what I'm saying? And she still loves him. That's just the same. Back in the day, it was more like that. These women respected these guys, and they couldn't even read, but they can make a living for their family. They took care of that wife. They were committed. They wasn't giving their money away. And so that's important. You got to give that guy that respect. And he would listen. He would open up to you. But if you come and you act like a dude, men are prideful, just like the women are emotional. And you have to know your role. So hopefully that helps that question. This other question says, do you agree with the saying with someone until the kids are? Do you agree with staying? I said saying, but it's staying. Let me slow down. Hold on. All right. Do you agree with the saying with someone, with staying with someone until the kids are grown? You know what? I don't agree with that. But at the same time, I've been around long enough. Generally, when look at men, men have lived in a relationship, and you keep hearing me say it so long, and they get to a point, probably in their late 50s, early 60s, right? That's generally when the kids are gone. They divorce their wife. They want more, this, that, and other. The wives have beat up guys so long, so for in ways that it's not a physical beat up, but mentally. The guy just want a peace of mind. And generally, I've talked to men, they said their relationship was over because, you know, they couldn't handle it no more. They wasn't happy with their wife, and they get divorced. Look at that dude. What's that dude's name? Oh my God, he's a tennis player. He got to his point, and he got a sex change. Oh boy. Anyway, uh, uh, um, it is what it is. But yeah, guys do that. Guys, women would desert their whole family. I mean, it's just to find her happiness. She would leave the whole family. That doesn't happen all the time. You know, but you got to go through the good and bad because that's really what love is, for better or worse. You know, and we got to fix this thing. Women have been knocking men down forever, and they get to a point for real. And the thing is, it's not a physical thing. They just made up in my mind. When I get, when my child's out of school, I'm gone. And then the woman's distraught, and you go through the changes because if you ever look at women, look at a group of older women. Just look at them, and if the husband died, that's one thing. I'm not talking about those, but the other ones that's kind of bitter, because he left me. All I did for him, he left me. And generally, that's how people think. That's how they talk. He left me. And the thing is, sometimes we push them away. If I would have stayed married the first time, and I don't know if I could say that because, I like to be happy and not necessarily for the sake of happiness. I like to know whether our relationship is good or bad, that we go into a positive direction. It just, we wasn't going in that positive direction. And I was out of there before the kids, this, that, and other. I wasn't staying based on my happiness. I left because I needed a peace of mind. And then my love wasn't real. It wasn't where it should have been. We my first marriage, we were together for all the wrong reasons. And if I would did it right, it would have never ended the way it did. And you got to be together for the right reason. That's why I could talk about these things. I wish I wasn't a bad actor. I wish I learned to have done it right, and I just didn't know how at the time. I got married. I was immature. I was young and wasn't ready for it. And so for me, I was going to say I would have probably did the same thing if I was in a miserable relationship. And I'm not giving advice people to do this. I'm just saying, when you don't know better, you don't know to do better. But I'm saying, if I was just out there with the lack of knowledge and lack of wisdom, I would have, when I got older, I would have left if I was in a miserable situation. Because You want to reflect back and say, you know what, I remember when. You know, couples should be able to look at their relationships and say, and reflect back and say, you know, and say, look at all the great times we had. I looked at my wife sleep the other day, right? I was watching her sleep, and I'm like, wow, I forgot how beautiful she is. And my heart, seriously, my heart began to melt, and I'm like, wow, because I'm like, sometimes it's good to look back to see what you have. I could just look at her and fall in love. I'm serious. The way she looks, she ain't even saying nothing. And our life was up and down, sideways. We had a crazy life, but yet we're going forward, and yet we still want to be together, that kind of stuff. But I just looked at her and got joy. See what I'm saying? That's a relationship. I don't look at her and say, what? We have an empty nest. I've been here in Florida here about 3 years now, going on 3 years, and I'm not looking. But if I was in a miserable, if she was, I'll tell you, I can't handle Mike Gilcreast, a nagging wife. I don't know how to do that, and so I'm speaking who I am, and I'm in church the whole 9 yards. But I knew what I had. I knew I didn't have that. And I wouldn't have made it this far if I just had a nagging wife. I don't know how to do that. I'm a dude. Most guys don't know how to handle that. They need peace. And I'm not saying go get a prostitute. Sometimes they get with a prostitute just because they don't. And that's not my path. I think they, because it's this. Ashley Madison came out. A lot of these guys, some were preaching, some were in church, and they go be with these people. But people generally want a peace of mind. And when I was a cheater, and I just want the peace of mind. And so I could speak of it from that content, to show people that's where we are. Did I? I think I missed the question, right? And so, do you think if a man is not treating the woman like he do you think if a man is not treating the woman like he should is why he doesn't have peace? No, I don't think that. Because how should a woman be treated? How should a man be treated? And that's a misnomer to me. I don't think love is give and take. I don't think if I do this, you do that. I always tell y'all, I say, I could be upset with my wife. I still open the car door for her. She could be upset with me, and I don't ask for no massage, you know, and she wakes up. I don't know how she does it, but she gives me a massage because she wants me to relax. And we're upset with each other. She still cooks. I still take out the trash. I still put up the pictures. I still do my duties as a husband around the house. I still pay the bills. I still whatever. She still cooks, wash this. It doesn't dilute the fact because you don't get along, you disagree with something, or what you're supposed to do. If marriage is give and take, you do this, I do that. You do this, I do that. That's not marriage. It's conditional. I believe I have agape love. That's unconditional love. I believe my wife has agape love. Regardless of what I do, have done, she still loves me and still do what she's supposed to do. I still do what I'm supposed to do. That's marriage. And then we do something good. And I told her, I said, let's take a trip. And she's happy, like, oh my God, we go on a trip. And she's happy for the deal she found. We got an upgraded room and paying less than half the price. Lord Jesus. And we get to be together. We're not spending all money like everybody else. And that excites us. Like, wow. We love being with each other. I went to a doctor's office and she's like, I'm going, it's right down the street. But then we make errands and do this and do that. And time just passed between us. I mean, like it's no tomorrow. I mean, that's how time is with what I have. I'll tell you, if my wife was different than what she was, I couldn't do the show. I wouldn't have wrote the book, nor would I write a book for women. And she's not like that. And so I refuse to tolerate. See, I'm for as old as I am, I refuse to tolerate our relationship less than what I'm expecting it to be. Even though I didn't tell her what to do. It just, like I tell you, I have a standard. And she met that standard. She has a standard. And I met her standard. That's that's what works for us. And so that's important. I wish people get this. All right. And so um um my wife don't have a requirement. If I do something for a birthday, if I do something for Christmas, if I do something for, Sweetest Day or Valentine's Day, or if I don't do nothing, we have a great relationship. Our relationship is not predicated on what holiday it is or this, that, and other. We got everything, you know, and putting time together, I guess, is the greatest gift we could get from each other. We get it from God, time, because it gives us life. We get to go to church, we worship God together, we praise God together. I mean, our relationship is not just a relationship, but it's spiritual as well. And so I never thought I could actualize and get this, where I am today, but phew, I'm blessed. And the thing is it easy, hard? Phew, marriage is crazy difficult. But what else would I do if I didn't have this? Where else would I be if I didn't have this? I enjoy this. I feel like I'm alive. All right. So that's it for the day. I appreciate everyone, coming on. Thanks for all the questions. What's today? Friday. The next day we're on Sunday at 8 o'clock. Get ready. It's more of this I'm wanting to bring. And I'm not ready just yet to change the subject because I want to talk about some other stuff as well, and just trying to get things geared up to move forward and stuff like that. But Sunday 8 o'clock, we may bring the same topic and go from there. But it's so much. Tell your friends, talk and say, bring. You got to see this dude. You got to see this. Bring it. I answer all the questions I did, and 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 maybe I missed one. Did I miss one? So I think I'm just seeing this. Should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it? Uh, um, um, let's do one more. Why are men so headstrong when it comes to? Oh yeah, we did that. I did it. Okay, I thought I missed one. All right, what about this one? Let's see. Do you believe that the eyes? Yeah, I missed this one. See, all right, that's it. Do you believe that the eyes are the windows to a person's soul? And I talked about that, right? Uh, um, um, and we'll get out here after this. If a person can look through their partner's eyes and get the answers what they need. No, not like that. Eyes are the windows to a person's soul. And look in somebody's eyes, you can feel emotions. You could connect to the individual. It doesn't say if the person's lying or not lying, or truthful, not truthful. The thing is, it's amazing when you can look into someone's eyes because it affects your mind. It does. All right. And then your eyes move. And I look at my wife, I've seen her eyes, and your eyes move around their face and all this stuff going through your mind. Uh, uh, um, you can't look through someone's eyes and get the answers you want. Because even though eyes can be a window to your soul, the eyes could also be deceitful. and most guys, or most people, would avoid the eyes because it affects us in a different kind of way. And so be careful with that. I think you could feel it more before that. I think after you're getting along, things working perfect, that's when I think you make that connection with the eyes. And you go that direction. All right. So that was my last one. I promise. I like to bring forth. Let me do something right quick. Whoops. So I was trying to get something done right quick. Yeah, but we're about to get out of here, and I always say, you know what, faith connected to the power words bring forth the reality of God. And so here's our church. Uh, um, out here, take a picture of it. And so I told you I'm start putting this out so you can see it and go from there. But I think it's pretty fantastic. You see what we're doing down here, trying to move forward and stuff like that. So yeah, do take a picture of it and we go from there. And plus, I like to show you uh, uh, pictures of me doing my book because I want you to, take hold of that. And we go from there. All right. So I put different pictures up there so people can see. I am blessed to sell a lot of books, and so pick up a copy. I'm worthy, chosen, and forgiven. And even as you do, keep me in mind because I want you to get something out of this. You know what I mean? And and you go from there. So, well, we take it and roll with it and go from there. But here's that picture. You can see my book, Unworthy, Chosen, Forgiven. That's me doing a book signing and pick up a copy. I guarantee it to change your life. And go for the unworthy, chosen, and forgiven. Great dynamic thing that we're doing. Trying to keep it going. All right, and so appreciate each one of you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the great questions and just everything that you're doing, participating, supporting.